Greetings, travelers. I'm Josh,
And I'm Kahi,
and we're the Genshin guys. Welcome. All this podcast is for fans of Genshin Impact, the mobile game made by Hoyoverse, formerly known as MiHoYo. Here we talk about our opinions, experiences, and dreams about Genshin Impact. If you like our show, don't forget to subscribe on Apple Music, Spotify, or wherever you are listening to the podcast. So I'm here with my co-host today, Kahi. Kahi, how are you doing today?
I'm doing rather well. Summer weather's kind of settling in and kind of easing its way out. Still a little warm, but I can kind of feel the cool breezes coming back through. And how about you, Josh? How have you been?
Same here. The weather has been all over the place, but it is getting better. Is not as rainy, hopefully, over the next couple days. It's been storming, but you know what? Been playing some Genshin, so everything's been all right. But anyway, so I want to introduce today's topics, and we have a lot to talk about today. We have a fun new game today as well. So today's topics are, first of all, as we always start with our weeks in Genshin. After that, we want to talk about Genshin news, as well as not exactly Genshin, but Hoyoverse related. We wanted to talk a little bit about our thoughts on Zenless Zone Zero, the new roguelike action fighter game from Hoyoverse that looks very similar in combat to Genshin, but is more focused on combat and less on exploration. And we're going to talk about our feelings on that a little bit. The closed beta just started, so we've been seeing a lot of streamers posting, like they're allowed to post, so they've been posting gameplay and feedback online. We'll talk a little bit about that, and then we'll talk about our new segment, Whose Voice Line. And this is going to be really fun. I hope you can play, you listeners can play along with us, so definitely look forward to that one. And lastly, we're going to talk about our community question discussion with answers from last week, as well as proposing a new question this week. So, that being said, let's get started and talk about Genshin news. So to start off with Genshin news, I want to mention that since we have so many characters, we're only going to have more. We didn't mention this in the last podcast, I believe, but I want to mention birthdays because we love the characters in Genshin Impact, and they have so much personality. And every year on their birthdays, Hoyoverse gives us more information about these characters on the Twitter. Like it gives them like a little bit more personality. They have like a letter that they write to the traveler, and you get like a little gift. And they also release like really nice 4K image artwork on the official Genshin Twitter and also on the Hoyoverse app. So I wanted to mention that on July 24th was actually Hazel's birthday, which is pretty interesting because it was like a week after he came out. And Klee and Kuki Shinobu's birthday is on the same day, July 27th. And Yanfei's birthday was the day after that, on July 28th. So yeah, I just love celebrating. Let's just celebrate. Happy birthday. Yeah, happy birthday. Woo. So, those character birthdays we had was pretty great. And we also saw the return of Yoimiya. So Yoimiya's rerun banner has officially started, with a couple of other characters. I believe it is, who is it? Bennett, Xinyan, and Yunjing.
Don't forget the weapon banners. If you are trying to save up for maybe a character later on, you definitely want to maybe have a good weapon for them. But other than that, you probably just want to save your primos altogether.
Right, and so speaking of weapon banners, the return of the Thundering Pulse, which is supposedly Yoimiya's signature weapon, as well as the Summit Shaper, I believe it's a defense-based sword. It's attack. It's attack.
Shield strength,
right?
Technically defense with a shield strength buff, but still looks cool. I definitely like the sword.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're interested in weapon banner, of course the pity system is a lot less lenient than on the character banners, but if you're interested, definitely go in and go for it. But you probably want to be saving your Prima Gems for those new Sumeru characters. So it's up to you at your own discretion. And yeah, so that's the current banners, wish banners that are going on right now. So the Reminiscent Regiment event has also started, which looks like it has a lot to do with the boat in the Apple Archipelago. You get your standard rewards of some Primo Gems, some experience books, as well as some talent books and Mora. So I haven't actually started it yet. Kahi, don't believe has actually started it yet either. But
Yeah, it seems to me like another little mini event, but still worth it for the free upgrade, talent books and, of course the primos, but still good to stock up on materials with like another little activity.
we'll probably be doing that over the next couple of days just to to build our resources a little bit. It's just another thing to do, right, while we're waiting for Sumeru. So that started. And we have so I wanted to talk really briefly about the Hidden Strife event involving Diluc and his new outfit, the Red Dead of Night, the first 5-star character outfit with different effects. So did you get a chance to do Hidden Strife yet, Kahi?
Yes, I did. I believe I completed all the challenges except for like the most difficult mode because I already have enough mystic gems to do weapon upgrades, so I don't think I need to stress out about that. I just need something that can help me get the wishes. I need something that can, of course, level the character up. That's pretty much the focus of a lot of people's farming right now, saving up for
Mhm.
what could come out later. Nothing too elemental specific, just because Dendro is the big element that people are going to be saving for and experimenting with, and there's nothing we can do to prep for the Dendro thing except maybe, like I mentioned in the previous episode, try to form a team that has the three elements that are known to interact with it, like Hydro, Electro, and Pyro, and just to see if you can fit a team in it, and maybe even Traveler, because Traveler is probably going to be the first one that we get to use that can use Dendro. So just trying to pre-farm, just wait, just collect, and everyone's just kind of waiting, and everyone's kind of all over the place right now with whatever they're saving up for.
Yeah, so the Hidden Strife event definitely has like some like nice resources, but of course the Prima Gems are probably the main thing. So as long as you finish the first difficulty, you can get Prima Gems. But to be completely honest about my experience with it, the highest difficulty that you can do from the beginning is actually not that difficult if you have your characters built up. So as long as you can get those done, I think it'd be good. I also did the same thing, Kahi. I did not do the final difficulty because I thought I don't know if I need to spend the time to do that right now. But yeah, it was a pretty interesting event because they talk a little bit about Diluc's past, but not too much. Actually, I was expecting a little bit more story, but I guess it was really just an event to let you see his costume in action and kind of explain the context around it a little bit.
I
So
think
yeah,
most of the story was in like the hidden letters that you have to be in his mansion to read, because you know who he's talking to. You can kind of piece together when they're sending these letters over the course of time, because they're all numbered. With the Roman numerals like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see over the course of time what is happening from the perspective of this person in the letter. And I think there's like at least four different people that he's gotten letters from, but the one with the beautiful handwriting, we don't know exactly who it is, but I think it is Lisa, because she's kind of sharing a bit of inside information. But it could
yeah,
it could be someone else. But most of the backstory is in the letters. Everything gameplay wise is just leading you to the the challenge event.
right. Yeah, like I was expecting a little bit more, but yeah, they did. There was like a letter from Alice. There was a letter from Lisa. There was like what seemed like a letter from like one of the uh people who frequent like maybe a butler or something, or who frequents the manor, who said like Master Kaya came back today, and it was like blah blah blah, like really nice. And um so like Kaya, I was like, oh, so Kaya does come by sometimes, um very very occasionally, because he did grow up there. They did grow up together. So but yeah, it is really interesting to kind of bring Diluc back into the spotlight a little bit, since it's been so long since he's not only been in the story, but also just I don't know, had anything, because like I remember he was like one of the more impactful characters at the beginning of the game's lifespan, because he was so powerful, and he was a 5-star, was hard to get. You had to, and then getting Wolf's Gravestone and everything for him, but he kind of just stopped being around. and then he popped up in the story occasionally, but not enough. But he had the whole cool Batman vibe going on, so that was really interesting. But I have a feeling we're gonna see more of him from the Genshin comic. That was the official comic that talks about Kale and like her background. Diluc and Kaya are involved, so I think there will be something there. But anyway, so Hidden Strife event was very short. If you haven't done it yet, you still have a lot of time, so definitely go and get those free Mo gems as soon as you can. Um, Next thing I wanted to mention was that Genshin announced that they will be at Gamescom in Germany from August 24th to August 28th. They're going to have a booth there. I am hoping that they do some kind of announcement. It would be nice to just get like a Nintendo Switch announcement because, or an update on that at least, because they announced it already a year ago, 2 years ago that it was coming to Switch, but then like gave us like a small trailer, I think, at the beginning of this year or something. But then no information on like exactly when it is coming. So might be some hardware limitations or something involved. Who knows? But it would be nice. I do know some people personally that only have a Switch or just would really like to play on the Switch for different reasons. But yeah, I would love for the game to reach more people as well. So the last part of the news today, we're going to talk a little bit about Zenless Zone Zero, Triple Z, the new game from Hoyoverse that is very, similar aesthetically to Genshin in that like the character animations, the designs are very unique, but the world setting is more of a futuristic, like post-apocalyptic, like punk metal. I don't know how to explain it, like setting. And if you see it for yourself, it's kind of futuristic, but it's also like junkyard dystopia kind of look. And they have a lot of different characters that are from a lot of different races. So there's like a giant bear character, and there's like a cat girl character, and there's like a fox girl character, and there's
There's demon
a
girl.
dog guy. There's a demon, there's an Oni character, there's um human characters, of course, but it's very, very interesting, very, very diverse just from the get-go. Like the cast is super diverse. And so hopefully we will know more and more about the story and the characters as the game comes out. And who knows? Maybe we'll do a podcast about that too. But it seems like that the game is being received pretty well. I would like to talk about my thoughts really quick first. And it's that knowing from before that this game was going to be a roguelike. So like which basically means that you played through a lot of the same levels that are probably randomly generated to like progress through the game, to level up your characters, to progress through the story. So you it's not the same, it's not so linear in the same way or even as exploratory as Genshin is. But like you'll be fighting a lot, basically is the vibe that I gathered. And it turns out like watching some videos, watching some gameplay of Twitch, watching some YouTube videos about the story, about the explanation. It does seem that there is a lot of menu navigation and there is a lot of things to kind of just figure out about the game first. But it might be just because people are just starting the game now that might be a little bit overwhelming at first. But which is good feedback, obviously, for MiHoYo. But the game combat, looks like and supposedly feels super satisfying. Disclaimer: oh yeah, we did not. Me and Kahi are not in the beta. We're just watching videos, watching people's reactions to it. I really would love to be in the beta, but I can also wait till the game comes out. But it is, it looks really interesting. It's definitely, if you're into Genshin, then the combat is one of your favorite parts. This game really hyper focuses on the combat system. It's a little faster paced, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. What are your thoughts on it, Kahi, so far from what you've seen?
So I love games that let you perform combos. Like in Genshin 2, you have all these abilities, you have all these skills and basic attacks, and of course, but the combat is short enough where you can find another character to kind of continue that combo and use their moves. The thing about Zenless Zone Zero is that you have a lot of basic attacks. Like you have a very long string of attacks, which I believe have directional input, but I don't think you can jump in this game. The only time you're jumping is like when you're performing a skill or like a swap out. I I like games that
Oh yeah.
allow you to choose how you perform your combo. My worry with Zen, it looks great. Don't get me wrong. The combat is fluid. All the animations are great. Sound design is good. A little bit more on the sharp high end. I want to hear like I would love to see like more like low pitch like kind of punchy sounds. But everything it sounds really clean, very unique. But my worry is that you're gonna be stuck in this very like basic attack heavy string and then you do a skill and then you do a swap. I like the combat loop might be too simplistic where you can get tired of it very quickly, but then you can only supplement that with a new character or like a new weapon or a new way to augment your abilities with I know they have like a record system, which is like the artifacts in Genshin. My worry is how they plan to let your character grow in power and skill. Because right now everyone's kind of doing the same numbers. I didn't see anyone get more of their records. I didn't see any gameplay on that, but how that record system changes the abilities or gives you a new ability or just changes the animations, that would be great. But a lot of people liked how flashy it is at the beginning, but long long term, how is the combat gonna feel like a week from now, a month from now? Because like you do the same flashy move over and over and over again, eventually people are gonna want to see like, okay, well, what else can I do? Like, who else can I try now? Um, Genshin still has like a vast array of characters right now, a good variety when you can have multiple teams, and I know you can do that in the game, but you can only have three, so that's a little bit more shrunken down. I
Mm.
want to see how the game can evolve from here. It's a good starting point. I just really don't want them to stick with this static formula of just spamming basic attacks too much because it doesn't really feel like you're performing the combo. You're mashing the button with little or less input. I feel like Genshin has more input because you have to switch to characters more often, but the flashiness is sometimes a little bit too uh it masks a deeper issue. Overall it's good. I want to see like more gameplay and how we can interact with these systems a lot better. I mean, well,
Yeah.
what do you think about the combat? Is this something that you can easily get into or like anything that you think it could grow into?
Yeah, so yeah, it's interesting that you bring up a couple points like such as not being able to jump and like attacking a lot. Like compared to Genshin, definitely Genshin is more like attack and you weave in abilities, right? So you're kind of like attack ability switch, and then you like switch out a character. Like I don't know, depends on the characters, right? And uh I also play this other game, which we had some conversations about before called Punishing Gray Raven. I think Punishing Gray Raven is a game more similar to Hoyoverse's other game, Honkai Third Impact. And I think that we're kind of going back to that idea of that sort of like mission based combat, not so much like world exploration, and like the elemental system is pretty unique in Genshin. I think it's pretty cool. But this game so far, I mean, we haven't been able to get into the depth of it. We haven't seen like where the gameplay is going to go or how what the potential is, but um I really like the fast paced combat that has more dodging than jumping. Like I really like I not that I prefer it specifically because I play games like I also love action, flashy action games, like stylish action games like Bayonetta, Devil May Cry, like those kind of games. And a lot of those games involve air combat. But in this case, I really like dodge, 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 and like depending on the timing of the dodge, like time slows down, or you get extra meter, or you get like extra abilities. Like the fast-paced combat for me is really exciting, and I really love the way that the game looks. So like the combat is flashy, but the game is also flashy itself, and so it really makes this like experience of like a cinematic fight like almost all the time. And I don't know how that'll look in the future. Like, when we get more and more enemies that have like more health. So you're just like hitting the same enemy with the same combos over and over again. Like you said, it's early. I'm really interested to see where this game is going to go. I think that most of the people reviewing the game, of course, they're just starting as well. So they don't know how the systems work either. And so even the people talking about it are kind of like only talking about it with half knowledge. They're not used to the actual system yet. So, well, I'm just really excited to see where it's going to go, but I do like the direction that looks like it's heading in. So, I will say that much about it. So, I don't know when the open beta will be, and when we'll be able to try it for ourselves. But if you're interested in Zenless Zone Zero, let us know. I definitely want to have more conversations about that. So that's our Genshin news segment for today. We talked a little bit about Zenless Zone Zero, but there is a lot of stuff still going on in Genshin. And to go back to Genshin, I want to do a fun segment today. It's going to be our first time doing it, called Whose Voice Line?
冒険だ冒険
So, welcome to Whose Voice Line, a segment where I will be sharing some voice lines from the different official voiceover dubs found in the game. I want to do this segment because I love all the voice actors, and I feel like this is a great chance to give some recognition for the hard work that they do. So this is the format. I'll share 3 voice lines from one character in each of the 4 languages in the game: English, Japanese, Korean, and Chinese, in that order. And then I'll give you some time to think, a couple seconds, but feel free to pause the podcast if you really want to think about who it is. And then I'll have Kahi guess, and then I'll reveal the answer to everybody. Okay? Does that sound good, Kahi?
Sounds good. Bring it on.
All right, so I'm gonna play 3 voice lines. Just listen to them first, and then I will ask you for your guess. Let's go. First is English.
It must almost be time for a nap. Like making my own vegetable soup. I put a big bunch of vegetables into a cauldron and stir it with a long spoon. What does it taste like? Here, why don't you try it for yourself? Open wide. Surely you don't want me working overtime. That would be no good.
All right, I'll give you a couple seconds to think about it. Okay, Kahi, who do you think that this voice belongs to?
Kind of sounds like Lisa to me.
And the answer is Lisa. You're right. Nice. So
Yeah,
you
she
didn't know,
definitely sounds
right?
lazy. Yeah, no, she definitely sounds lazy when she says, "Oh, you don't want me working overtime." Yeah, she doesn't want to work overtime either, but she definitely has that type of personality when she says "open wide." I'm sure people can definitely see that in Lisa.
Right. So that was our first one, and it was in English, right? And we all listeners to this podcast, we speak English. So from now, I'm going to be doing Japanese, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, and Chinese. And even if you don't understand the language, I want you to do your best to see if these voice lines that I pick, these voice actors' voices, can, of all the characters in Genshin that you know, and we love the characters in Genshin, can you determine which personality is being conveyed through the voice, right? Even if you don't understand their words, let's see if you can guess just based off of feeling, like who would talk like this, So I don't expect you guys to know the languages. I don't know Chinese and Korean, but we'll see if you can guess who these voices belong to. So let me get the next voice set up real quick. Okay, and next one will be Japanese. Okay, here we go.
実は今本当に困ってるんだ。今晩若が友人を招いて宴を開くから俺も腕を振るってカニのバター添えを作る約束をしたんだけど、ここ数日カニが全然買えない。まさか直接水の中に入ってカニを捕まえるしかないのか？いい匂いだ。ご飯をおかわりしてもいいかな？まだ時間はあるかい？料理の真髄を語り合おう。
Okay, I'll give you a couple seconds to guess. Okay, Kahi, who do you think it is?
Kind of sounds like Kaya with a little bit of a peppy attitude, but it doesn't sound too old, doesn't sound too young either. Doesn't sound like a young kid, so it's probably one of the more middle-aged guys, or like the. Yeah, I think it's Kaya. Am I right?
And the answer is Toma.
Oh
Nice guess.
yeah, that could
It's
be
like,
him.
oh
Yeah, that
yeah,
makes
Toma
sense.
exists, right?
Yeah, he sounds very bright, not too. Yeah, he didn't sound too braggish either.
right.
Yeah, Kaya would be
Yeah.
more. He would sound like super lazy. He would kind of sound like he's swaying a little bit.
I
Toma,
think
yeah,
he
he
kind of has
sounds
like
very
a
composed.
swagger, like a suave, like a
Yeah,
mysterious kind of air to him, right? So as soon as you said Kaya, but like brighter, I was like, so not Kaya then.
pretty much.
Okay.
Everything above that.
So great job if you got it right. So let's go to the third language, which is Korean. And let's see, I will play 3 voice lines and let's see if you can guess who they are.
조심해. 이런 날씨에 벼락 맞고 싶은 사람은 없겠지? 아라타키파 해산? 그럴 일은 절대 없어. 그리고 정말 해산한다 해도 난 걱정 안 해. 내가 배를 고를 리는 없으니까. 자격증과 마찬가지로 이것 또한 내 능력에 대한 인정이자 증명이지. 다른 점이 있다면 지금까지도 그 심사 기준을 모르겠다는 거?
Okay, I'll give you a couple seconds to think about it. Okay, Kahi, who do you think it is?
There's no giggling. There's no like obvious personality, like weaving of the words either. It's just very straightforward. Probably like a kind of a straight shooter person, like just something that's kind of level-headed. Is this this might be Kuki Shinobu. I want to say Kuki.
And the answer is Kuki Shinobu. Dude, you got it. That was
Hey,
so
there you
good.
go.
That was really good reasoning. See, like, I know you don't know Korean. I don't know Korean. I was thinking, like, man, this is kind of hard. Like, but what's funny is that I actually heard it. She said Arataki, like the Arataki gang.
Oh, that was Aratake. I thought that was just another word, but like the way that the language is pronounced, I just thought it was some other word that sounded like it, but that was Aratake. Okay. Maybe that triggered
so
something in my
good.
head, like just leans me that way.
So good, man. Okay. Anyway, that was phenomenal. So great guess. So those who got it right. Let's do our last language, which is Chinese, the mother language of this game. So let's go ahead and find a good Chinese voice actor. Ready?
你是我选择的船员，是我选择的兄弟。就说这一点，都够我自豪很久。航海准备，兄弟们各就各位，全新的冒险要开始了。宁光啊，从璃月七星的角度上来说，已经做得很好了吧？只是我要负责的对象从来就是我的船和兄弟们，不是什么璃月七星啊。
Okay, I'll give you a couple seconds to think about it. All right, Kahi, who do you think it is?
Beto.
Sasuga, someone who loves Beto. The correct answer is Beto. You're right. So what made
Okay,
you
let me
think it
tell you
was
why.
Beto, Kahi?
The shout, that sudden shout.
Ah,
Because she's very expressive. She's very commanding. She's a captain. She's gonna she's gonna shout at anyone on the boat because she has to tell someone to do something on that side of the boat. So she has the natural inclination to be loud. The thinking voice also. There's like a lot of things in just the way the words come out. I don't know if this is maybe just how the language is said, but it kind of sounds like she's just tossing some words here and there, and they're just coming out. Not just it doesn't sound proper at all because of how expressive it is. And then just that one time the one shout came out, I'm like, yeah, that definitely sounds like something Beta would do.
Oh my god, that's so good. I mean, I picked that line on purpose because of the shouting. The other thing I was wondering if you would hear the second voice, no, the last voice line. Um, it starts with Ningguang. So
Yeah,
listen to it real
I
quick.
kind of
You heard
figured.
it?
Yeah, I heard it.
宁光啊，
Yeah, like Ningguang. Yeah, great job, Kahi. That was fantastic. So, guys, thanks for playing. Kahi, thanks for playing. Let us know in the comments on Twitter if you got any of them right. Let us know what you think about this segment. If you want us to do it more, you want to experience the voices in different languages of the characters that we love in Genshin. Let us know. So
Can I bring up
that's
something
it.
about Cookie real quick before we go on?
Oh yeah, go
There's
for
a
it. Go for it. Go
reason.
for it.
There's a good reason why Cookie is a very well developed character. Even her voice lines and her delivery is very balanced because her character is not supposed to be overpowered in any particular area. She's not supposed to be a really good burst healer. She's not supposed to be a very good burst damage healer. She's supposed to be very even, very balanced. So even her personality, even her voice lines, that's why it kind of sounds, yeah, you can kind of tell just by everything about this character. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, well, I think that it just brings to the point that, like, if you know the character, that some, like, the voice lines, even in a different language, should make sense to you, like the way that they deliver the lines. So, of course, like, there's the extra added aspect of, like, the words that they use, like if you know the language. I recently started playing in English randomly, and like Mona during the event, I didn't realize in English Mona sounds like she's from like King Arthur period of time or something. She's like, "Oh well, oh yes, yes, I'm quiet," or something like that's
Very
what she talks. I had
aristocratic.
no idea. Yeah, yeah, like upper class, right? And so yeah, it's really interesting. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I hope, if you didn't get it right, then maybe try, like, you can try it, or maybe if you did get it right, like, just try. I encourage you to try the different languages in the game. You can keep the game text in English, change the languages, kind of experience the character and how they feel in a different language. The delivery is super different depending on the language itself, just naturally. So yeah, feel free to try it out. But thank you for that. That is the Who's Voice Line segment. So we're going to go over to our last segment of today, which is the community question discussion. So the community question from last week was, what character are you most excited for from the Sumeru preview? Right? And so we got some responses here on across Twitter and on Spotify. But we have Arvid Bjurham says Tainari. Just Tainari. That's it. Tainari. And then Jangolin says, I'll Hytham because he looks cool, and Nyla because she would fit perfectly in my team. Right? Nice. Okay. I'll Hytham, yes. We also have Pimzo Balto says, definitely Tainari. He is one of the most interesting characters I've seen in a while. P.S. There are some rumors about Tainari being available on the standard banner after his own banner. Which, when I read that, it makes sense because they should have like a Dendro 5-star in the banner, right? So yeah, so then that would be really interesting if he actually came to the normal banner. And let's see, we have here on Spotify, so Albera, or at Kazgruda on Twitter, says, for now, I'm only interested in the Dendro Archon because of the Gnosis. Sumeru technology seems to be coming from the Gnosis and powered from it, so I'm curious to see what will happen to Sumeru when it's gone. And also, the Archon that we know are really powerful, so it's really to assume that Dendro Archon will be the most fun and useful in a team. The other characters we don't know much about yet to be able to have a opinion on them unless you looked at leaks, which, yeah, I mean, the preview only showed just the characters, the way they look, not any of their abilities, no gameplay yet. So definitely it's hard to have like an opinion gameplay wise of who you're excited for, but as far as looks goes, a lot of people seem like Tainari and Al Haytham are up there, and obviously me and Kahi are super excited for Dea, right? So
Yep. Pre-farming for her already.
so Javathan, or at Forlorn NG on Twitter, also says, I'm most excited for Dea. She has a lot going on with her aesthetic, and she stands out the most compared to the group as a whole, and her story could work to counterpoint the forest side of Sumeru, which we will probably see a lot of first. Yeah, I think I think the way that they previewed it for us, even, they showed us the forest before they showed us the desert, right? I think a lot of people were expecting desert, and then the first preview of Sumeru was just all luscious green forest, and then it wasn't until the second preview that we got the duality, and we got the desert side as well. So, yeah. So I mean, Kahi and I talked about what we felt about the community question last week. We talked a lot about our excitedness for these characters that they showed in the preview. But yeah, I'm actually surprised to see like Tainari. I guess he's cool, but like, Kahi and I were talking about like, is he like 5-star material? Like, I don't know. So Kahi, what do you think of
Simply
these
from looks.
right? What do you think of these answers to this community question, Kahi?
I feel like the people are saying Tainari is just because I believe that's the first character that showed up in the lineup, or they're the ones that looked at the leaks. Because there's not much. If you went purely by looks alone, I really don't think Tainari would be high up on the I need this character list, especially when you saw all the other ones. And I'm still shocked no one said anything about Nahida, because even the rumors were saying that Nahida might be the Dendro Archon, and I told you earlier too. Like, I went back and was trying to do some research on like the story from the beginning of Genshin to now, and there's that part about Zhang Li talking to us when we found out he was the Archon. He talked about the other Archons, and he said the youngest Archon currently is only 500 years old and is the Dendro Archon. So, of all the characters we saw so far, I mean, we have Nahida that kind of matches that look. But I mean, I agree to some extent. I mean, the Nilo, the person who said Nilo, because she would fit perfectly in the team. This by Jingling, yeah, that makes sense because that's a character that you can incorporate. That's why you want this character. And then Kazgruda, yeah, you want the Dendro Archon not only because of the Archon, but how the technology is derived from the Gnosis. Maybe we'll see her abilities around that. That's a good enough example. But I really don't know about Tainari being like on everyone's like top of the list, just because we didn't see anything official from him at all, except the splash art and the quick reveal. But so I mean, sure. I mean, people like what they like. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of gives me, honestly, sort of like Kingdom Heartsy vibes with his outfit. Like, so maybe if you're into the, hoodie and zipper and big pants, I don't know. Like he seems like a really chill character. Like, I like his design. I just don't.
Oh, totally.
I don't. Yeah, I just did like you said. I also personally, when I see him, I'm not like, oh, that's a must-have character just based on looks alone. But like you said, people like what they like. So. But I mean, either way, I'm excited to play him. I'm gonna try to get him. But we'll see. I at this point, I'm pretty sure I have every character except for Kokomi. So, I mean, I might as well just try to get all the characters at this point. Obviously, like going forward, actually, it's not obvious, but going forward, I want to do more like gameplay research stuff for the podcast, which I think would be really fun, and having all the characters would be really beneficial for that. So, we'll see where that goes. But guys, thank you so much for answering the community question. We love, discussing everybody's opinions about the characters, and the more that we know, we're in the coming weeks about Sumeru as we get to play it, as we get to be these characters. I'm sure opinions will change, and I'm sure new opinions will be formed. So, really excited to talk about that with you guys. So if you want to be part of the community, feel free to follow us on Twitter, and join us for live stream. Sometimes I live stream Genshin as well. So yeah, let us know. Now, for next week's podcast, we have a new community question that is brought to us by Javathan at ForlornNG from Twitter, which is my question to the pod and the community. If you could play as any non-boss enemy unit, who would you pick? I would choose Sisin Mage. Not sure if Electro or Cryo. And so, yeah, it's a really interesting question. I guess I will leave that to you guys. I don't know. Do you want to answer it right now, Kahi?
I do have an idea. Do you have one?
Yeah, I do. So, all right. So we'll
Hmm.
answer it now, and then we'll hear your guys' responses next week. But for me, just hearing this question, one of the characters I want to play as, I don't know why. I just maybe because of the story in the Golden Apple Archipelago, but I want to play as um the Mirror Maiden. So I think the Mirror Maiden is pretty cool, and she can teleport, or she can like walk into like a portal and all this stuff. So I'm pretty interested in how she would play as a character. What about you, Kahi?
So before I give my answer, I like that Mirror Maiden one, that idea, because she has multiple abilities and they
Mhm.
have a very wide, area of effect. And, she has lasers. So like her ability could incorporate about leaving a mirror here and there, and then you fire it at one and it kind of refracts. I like that kind of design. It seems very flashy as well. You can
Mhm.
teleport. That's always gonna be awesome. For me, it's okay, it's between two. If I had to settle on one, I'd probably say and the thing is, what I'm about to say, these guys were only in like a mid middle of the year patch, and they don't appear anywhere else. The Black Serpents, the heavy armor guys, the ones that kind of like bypass shields, but they're slow. They kind of look like they have large pole arms, but like they just they look like just giant, like, humanoid robots. But they have punch to them. They have like they hit. You can tell, like, if you're not ready, if you're not dodging, you're gonna get hit hard. And you can't just have Zhongli's shield, because even Zhongli's shield can't really withstand a lot of pressure from their attacks. But aesthetically, if I had to look like a character, I want them to look cool. These guys look cool. If I wanted them to have like a powerful weapon, they have a powerful weapon. Powerful ability, they have powerful ability. So probably them. I kind of like how they look. Very.
Th-
They're
Those are
from
the
Kai
guys
and
from Kai
Ria.
and Ria. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the
Okay,
Black
that's
Serpent guards. Yeah,
yeah.
they look great.
The
They're
one
fight
guy,
powerful.
the
Hmm.
one guy who like Dines left knew, and he was like the captain of them and all this stuff, right?
Yeah, like those guys. I mean, you didn't see too many of them. They're also they're in the bottom of like the chasm, but it's because they're remnants of us digging down further into there anyway. So they're kind of in that same
Right.
spot.
Yeah, that's cool, and I actually totally forgot about them because we don't fight that many of them. But
Yeah, I'm
that's
surprised they didn't
cool.
show up at all. Like after that,
Yeah, but they might, and we don't. We'll see. Like in the
they
future.
should.
In fact, yeah, I was gonna say we could probably count on it, um, but yeah, that's great. That's a great answer. So my answer is Mirror Maiden. Kahi's answer is Black Serpent Guards. So let us know what you think. Who would you play as an enemy unit that's not a boss? I think most of us would answer if there's enemy unit that was a boss. I think I would want to play as Signora or
Oh,
or
rip.
or Raiden Unleashed, which is actually like basically a playable character in Hoyoverse. And sorry, in
Armored Raiden.
Honkai Third Impact. Yeah, Honkai Third Impact has Raiden with like those like arms that come out with the swords. Like that's actually a thing in Honkai. So it's like an example of how they have game ideas that blend their universes, that kind of connect their universes together in a way. Same with like Paimon being the same as like very similar and same voice actress as the main character in Honkai Third Impact. So um anyway, yeah, it's pretty interesting. But thank you guys for the community question discussion as always. That wraps up the show for today. Let us know what you thought of the new voice line segment as well. Did you get any right? How often do you switch to voice languages in game? I'm just curious. Let me know. If this segment kind of inspires you to switch voices more often, also let me know because that would be really cool. Anyways, thanks for listening. Leave us a comment and a review. If you leave a 5-star review in the form of a question, we may answer on the next episode of the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you're listening. Follow us on Twitter, once again, at Genshin Guys Pod. And may your wishes be granted. See ya.
Enjoy.